WEMB Sports Radio.
It's Marky Billson, Tri-City Sports Now, and the most opinionated sports talk show host in the market. Actually, here, you get that, big macho, I'm going to be the last man standing. I don't know if I am or not. But I will say this. I noticed that Sports Talk Radio, keep track of it, what the competition is doing. There's one show that's taking a hiatus through the summer. Really? Really? I never take a hiatus, ever. And that's because I am just that damn good. I'm Marky Billson, 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. Where to begin with? Did we get the internet coming back on here? No internet connection still? Let's see if we get that. So I'll hold off on Steve Blass is the former Kingsport Pirate. You know who Steve Blass is? I'd hope so, if you have any knowledge of baseball history. He won the 7th game in the 1971 World Series. Okay, yes, 48 years ago. But he's also been a broadcaster for many years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is, I believe, his 60th season in the organization, which, yes, began in 1960. Okay, so Kingsport Pirates. And he also, very famously lost his control in the middle of his career and actually regained it, he said, with the work of someone at 56 years old. He's now able to throw, but there was a time where he just couldn't throw a strike. And he went from being a 19-game winner to being a guy who would have a 9.10 ERA, and he only hit 2 batters in this start. That guy. Overnight. And so they called the quote-unquote disease of a pitcher who suddenly loses his control. There was a pitcher named Kevin Sachet that had this. There was a catcher named Mackey Sasser that suddenly could not throw the ball back to the pitcher. They used to call this Steve Blass disease. And Blass is in... anyway, he's always in good spirits about it. But yeah, now he's getting picked on. I'll tell you why here in just a little bit. I did mention before, a lot of conversation about Bobby Witt. It's the, highest drafted. His father was selected 3rd in the baseball draft in 85. Witt now selected 2nd. Highest father-son duo. The baseball draft began in 65. Before that, it was every team for himself and trying to sign players. A lot of people think that that's the way it should go these days. I will say that I think the baseball draft does not have the same influence on competitive balance that, say, the football draft does. Regardless, there's some very interesting father-son duos or families that were selected, and try to get you through that. Let's see here. I'll give you an example. Hunter Bishop. Well, his brother, Braden Bishop, plays for the Mariners. Now, Hunter Bishop was taken 10th overall out of Arizona State by the San Francisco Giants. Anybody remember one of the more unlikely teams to win a World Series? The 87 Twins. They won 85 games in the regular season, won a weak division, and then got hot in the playoffs, and they beat the Tigers in 5 games. There was only, division. There were no divisional series then. You just went to the championship series. You had to finish in first, folks, to make the playoffs. Imagine that. Anyway, but no, the Twins beat the Tigers, who were heavily favored in the American League Championship Series in 5 games in 87. And then they beat the heavily favored Cardinals, who had a lot of injuries. I think that was a big deal. With 3 pitchers. And Frank Viola, Bert Blyleven, one was a Cy Young Award winner, the other was a Hall of Famer, and then they had a guy named Les Steckel who went 8-10. And so basically the hope was that, okay, you talk spawn and sane, pray for rain. Well, this was Viola and Blyleven win, and then you hope that Steckel maybe just make... Anyway. Well, what happened is that the Twins were able to win the World Series in 7 games against the Cardinals that year. It was very unlikely world champion. And I think it was the fewest victories at that time. St. Louis actually won fewer in 2006, but 85 victories was the least amount of victories for a world champ, if memory serves, up to that time. Anyway, Mark Davidson was a utility player for those 87 Twins. His son Logan Davidson was taken in the first round by the Oakland A's, Clemson Tigers. By the way, he's not the only player. You saw this Tusculum. And all of a sudden, I'll give you the name of the player here, but it was Chase Hall. Chase Hall, who struck out 22 batters in a game against Queens, North Carolina. We spoke about this. That was the D2 record earlier this year. He was selected in the 33rd round out of Tusculum. If you want to talk a local player, he went to Knox Catholic. I mean, that's not Tri-Cities. It's the region again. But still. Anyway, I mentioned that because he was selected 33rd round by the Oakland A's and such. So now I'm not going to go down every single player, but here's some interesting things here. Baseball fan, you know the name Kessinger, Don Kessinger. Last player manager in the American League, as a matter of fact. But you probably remember him, shortstop for the Cubs, the 69 Cubs. He was their shortstop and all that. Well, his grandson from Ole Miss, Gray Kessinger, was taken in the second round by the Houston Astros. Kind of interesting. Carlos Beltran's nephew, Matthew Lugo, was taken by the Red Sox right after that in the second round. He's a shortstop. Where did he go to school? Well, Puerto Rico, okay. At the Carlos Beltran Baseball Academy. You may see the connection between Carlos Beltran, his uncle, and Matthew Lugo, the nephew, right there. So he'll be possibly playing shortstop in the future for the Red Sox, I suppose. Okay. I go through some other intriguing things. Those are the first day selections. Remember Glen Allen Hill? His son from high school was drafted in the second round, 102nd overall, and 18 years old. And let's see here. He actually, Glen Allen Hill now manages in the Rockies organization. But anyway, his son was selected, and it does not list who he was selected by with the 122nd pick. Gotta love that. Okay. No, it does not say here. They did not mention the name here, so forgive me for that. I'll give you that. This is one that I found was very interesting. Blake Sable. He's a catcher from Southern California. His second cousin is Troy Polamalu, the future Hall of Fame safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I used to cover. I love Troy Polamalu. A good character guy. You remember him from the Head and Shoulders commercials. Well, where did he play college football? Southern California. Where do you think his second cousin, Blake Sable, played baseball? Southern California. And as a catcher, and I guess he could play for the Bristol Pirates, I suppose this is possible. Anyway, Blake Sable for the Southern California, he was selected by the Buccos. That's right. I mean, father, Southern California to the Steelers. I say father. Second cousin, Southern California to the Steelers. Second cousin, Southern California to the Pirates. That's kind of intriguing. I kind of thought that was decent right there. Tom Pachorik's nephew, Nick Pachorik, was selected by the Yankees. He was a right-handed pitcher from Northwestern. I'm wondering, Jim Pachorik was Tom. I want to see if there was any relationship there. Jim Pachorik is a 1,000 hitter. He's like Jim Pachorik is the greatest hitter in Major League history. I don't know. Yeah, I know. He was 3 for 3 lifetime. Most at bats with a 1,000 batting average. Jim Pachorik played one game, I think, for the Colt 45s, something like that, back in the 60s. Okay, but anyway, Jay Bell used to play for the Elizabethton Twins. Most known, I guess, for the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. His son, Brock Bell, was selected from the State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota, as a right-handed pitcher by the Red Sox. Intriguing. Okay, so these are some interesting things. Travis Fryman's son, the former third baseman of the Tigers, Brandon Fryman, selected shortstop, the Mets, in the draft, Samford University product. I think he's a guy who possibly could play for the Kingsport Mets right there. Braden Fryman. Looking through that. And I know that, we're trying to find some intriguing things right here, especially if they might play in the Appalachian League. Carter Aldretti, the Mike Aldretti, the family is really into baseball. I mean, even the his daughters and his nieces are softball players and such. Mike Aldretti, Carter Aldretti was selected by the Giants, second baseman out of Arizona State. That I find to be kind of intriguing. Let's see. So we got some others here maybe to get to. We do have now in our next segment, I can tell you why Steve Blass is under fire and more. It is Tri-Cities Sports Now. I'm Marky Billson. We'll be back for our final segment. More baseball talk after this.